Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Permission Granted podcast. And today we're joined by Shelly and Kasha. Our other amazing friend Kim is home. She's recovering. She had a little minor situation to take care of health-wise, but we are wishing her well and letting her know that we do miss her here on these podcast streets with us. But today's topic is one that has been a topic of conversation, I would say, for a very long time. And we want to bring it to light because we each have experiences where the coaching industry is what we're in, but it has been so oversaturated with the negativity and the toxicity of it all that we want to let you guys know in the conversation where we share our experiences, the pros and cons of what the coaches are implementing out there and when to trust your intuition in doing so. So for me, it was an experience that I had this last week with a mentor and a coach that we really trusted and invested in, and kind of were taken back at the fact that all the teachings and everything that she was supposed to pour into us was basically a fraud. So my takeaway from that is I knew from the inception that I had a nibble and a nudge that something was off. And I chose to ignore it because I thought to myself, it sounded so good to be true that even that, I still didn't let that stop me. And I went all in.
Uh-oh.
And then come out on the other end with no content. Oh, are we still recording? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So that was my experience. But the intuition part was the part that I ignored, and that was valuable for me. So ladies, what was your experience when it came to something similar to this?
For me, so I started my business like over a decade ago, and I knew nothing. I had a passion, and online coaching was not the way it is today. It was, I don't know, there were a few sort of coaches of note, and I just sort of quit my corporate job because I trusted I was going to manifest, I was going to do the whole secret thing, the secret, right?
Yes, that was huge. Yes.
And all that stuff. And so I was very naive and did things sort of ass backwards. But at the same time, I feel like this coach knew exactly what to say and knew the pain and told us pieces, but not the whole picture.
Same experience here.
And so she never defrauded us. She did teach us, and I did learn a lot. Like I really did. I'm not going to say I didn't, but because I was in a place of vulnerability, very passionate, like rearing to go. I was going to like heal the world, right? I had this amazing thing that I had just learned, and I was going to start this $1 million business. She fed that. She fed me hook, line, and sinker. And I believed her because I didn't know anything, and she said she knew it all. And so there was this huge, like, she took my money and she taught me some things, but not all the things that.
She basically just got you started somewhat, but didn't give you the entire package.
And so I accept my responsibility in it, right? I signed the check or whatever, right? I sent her the money. I chose it. And yet I do believe that she kind of played on the vulnerable, it wasn't just me. It was like a huge group program. I think there was like 60 of us in there. Those of us who were new really felt had, because it was like, just think positive and just like do this and put this online and send this and then you'll be successful. And if you're not, well, that's your problem. And it's like, no, right? It is, but it isn't. And so it took me a lot of time to trust and to hire another coach, because I was like, wow, I did not enjoy that experience. Yes, I learned some skills and they did help, and I got, clients here and there, but it wasn't hunky-dory. And so I felt really, really burned and really, really hurt for many years. And like I said, I do accept the responsibility, but I think if you're someone who's in that position of, I'm going to say power, I'm going to use that word very deliberately, because you've been there, done that, and you cannot just sell people the highlights. You have to tell them the truth. Like, you have to tell them this is going to take work, right? You have to show up, and you have to show up hard, and you have to show up in this way, and it's mindset, and it's this. It's not just like a matter of putting up a flashy page, sending out a couple emails, going to a networking thing, and all of a sudden you have all these clients. It takes time, and it takes all these pieces moving together. And I feel like that, to a newbie, a complete newbie who had ended like a 10-year corporate career where I literally just showed up at my desk, collected my paycheck, right? Didn't have to do anything like that. It was a rude awakening, and it was a very expensive awakening. And what I took from that in my own practice is I will never sugarcoat the amount of work involved in like whatever the client wants. It doesn't have to be hard work, right? That's two different things. You don't have to like dig a ditch with a shovel every night in the rain. It's not that.
But be consistent with that spoon that you're using.
Yes, and you have to show up, and you have to implement, right? And it looks a certain way. So it really taught me to make sure that when people hire me as a coach or a therapist, whichever route we go, they know what they're getting into. I will not sugarcoat things, because I don't want people feeling the way I felt for so long.
Yeah. I think that authenticity is really, really important as a coach or a healer or a teacher, to just let them know, because I think so many people are out there looking for the easy button, and it just does not exist.
No, it doesn't.
Looking for that easy button is going to automatically get you that disappointment, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that the coach didn't show up or deliver in a way that they were saying that they would. It just means that you didn't get what you thought you were getting, which was some magical button. And I've had good coaches. I've had some not so great coaches, and I have learned something from everything that I've been through, regardless of whether or not I felt truly supported or heard or understood or not. And most of what I've learned is how I want to be in my own business, like you, Kasha, right? And I think that really brings us around to what we really wanted to talk about here, is that, yes, there is this sort of toxic energy in our field, right? But we're not all like that. And there are very many coaches out there who are an amazing support to the people that they help. And the thing is that just like not every piece of chocolate is for you. I know that's a hard one. Chocolate, seriously. I know. Chocolate's for everybody, right? But,
I kind of love them all, but yes, you're correct.
Like, not every candy is going to be for you. You're going to like some more than others. And, you know, some coaches are going to be for you at different points in time. They're going to be not for you at other points in time. It's all about your own growth. And you have to be able to understand where you're truly at and own your power in your situation to claim that, right?
And your voice.
Yes. Because in every situation where I didn't feel supported, part of that was because I wasn't asking for what I needed. And in every situation where I did feel really supported, it was because I was clearly communicating what I was going through. Right. And I had a clearly defined idea of what it was I needed in that moment. I knew where I wanted to go and how I wanted to get there. And I allowed that person to come in and be that support system, which is what they are. They're supposed to support you in standing in your strengths, not pick you up off the ground. Right? Because we are all in this very moment whole and complete as we are. We don't need somebody to tell us otherwise. And that was my number one problem with any coach I had out there, was I was looking for somebody to tell me that I was doing it right, that I was okay, that I was, you know,
the validation of it all.
Exactly. And when you start validating yourself, you don't need them. And when you don't need them, they can't take you in that way.
Yeah, it's so true. That's you're spot on, Shelley, because now of course hindsight is always perfect, right? You look through that lens. Yeah. It did help me clarify, prioritize, and really know myself and what I wanted. Which but again, it was like a hard lesson to learn it that way. I think there's kinder ways to do that, and you don't need to.
Absolutely.
It was a harsh pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think for me, my biggest takeaway, despite like the disappointment and the disheartenment of it all, but my biggest takeaway is that the lesson in there for me, the beauty of it all, is that that particular person really showed me how I do not want to show up as a coach.
Yeah.
Amen.
The many things that I know I will never put into any of my practices, and the lessons learned of how she showed up based on how I will never show up, and to keep like that platform of being authentic and being soulful in what I do, because I believe we all believe in the work that we do, and that every time we pour into a client, it's, you know, it's our reputation, it's our how can I say it, the foundation of our work. So if that starts to be into jeopardy, into question, then it's almost like we have to question who we are as a person.
Yeah.
So that was huge.
That's a rabbit hole, and I've been down it, and it sucks.
It does. It really does, because it really pulls you in, and you really feel like there's no way out.
Yeah.
But the power of our voice is huge too. And it's just like Shelly said, she hit the nail right on the head, that if you don't ask for what you need, because when it comes to coaching, not one size fits all. And depending on what you're coaching on, each person will come to the forefront in a different way. They might need to implement it in how it suits them in their journey. So we are open to be adaptable in that approach and how we coach. So if you feel like you are strung into a box or being formed into a cookie cutter pattern of what doesn't suit you, use your voice and say, this does not work for me. Is there another way? Is there another strategy? Because there always is another strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing too, I would, because this happened with that first coach I mentioned, is when we did band together and ask for what we needed, she kind of pulled well, this is how it is. And so at that point, again, you know, money aside, investment aside, it's at that point, it's like she's showing you who she is, or he's showing you who he is. And you got to decide, okay, so am I just going to cut my losses at this point? Right. And listen first the next time? Or am I going to keep listening to this person? And unfortunately, because I was so early in my journey, I just kept showing up and like taking more of it, even though I was asking, we weren't receiving, but it wasn't like, the relationship was off. So again, it's that listen to yourself.
And it's that harsh reality that a lot of these coaches that are out there doing it the way that it's not supposed to be performed as a coach, they use those triggers, they use those limiting beliefs. And a lot of the people that are in the early stages of jumping into anything as an entrepreneur, they have that mindset of scarcity, of lack, of enoughness, because we all come from those streets. Until we learn to wrap our minds around the language that we need to keep encouraging us to know that we are not those things, that we are way better than those things. So a lot of those coaches that are in those brackets that don't coach as well as they should use that language as those pressure points to keep us within their grasp. And that's the shameful part of it all. Like you said, you guys asked for what you needed, and she was like, well, no, this is how it is, and it's not. That right there should have been a red flag. But like you said, you were new, you were so invested, you were eager to learn more because you figured that you trusted her, that her voice was what you needed to hear. And now if that situation would have presented itself to you today, you would be like, nope, I want my money back.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that there's a possible situation here with, like, you outgrew her and she didn't know how to she wasn't ready to come up to that level to serve you in moving forward. And that's something, again, you need to know yourself, and you need to trust in yourself and know that if you outgrow somebody, then leave them and move on. We're not meant to be with the same teachers for the rest of our lives. The problem is that the growth that you're experiencing mentally and emotionally and spiritually and whatever it is that you're working on isn't physically seen. So it's not like watching a child grow out of their clothes, but it's very similar. You need to keep evolving and moving forward and allowing new people to come in. And then something that I was just grabbing from what you were saying, Eva, is that if these people are speaking to you and it makes you feel yucky, or it makes you feel like down on yourself in any way, you really need to take a moment and say, is this my truth, or are they projecting their own feelings on me? Because a lot of coaches out there are speaking in a way that sounds like they have this big coaching business and they're very successful and they're really good at what they do, but they were also coached to do that. And it's not authentic, it's not real, and you need to sort of feel into, like, is this mine? Like, we've talked about that before. Is this actually mine that I'm feeling, or are they projecting this on me, making me feel that way so that I'm insecure and will say yes to them?
And keep spinning. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what are our permission slips this week?
So let me start with my permission slip is to trust your intuition. When something feels off and something feels funky, trust it. Don't question it, and don't dive in until you actually do the research, do your homework, and get aligned to the feeling of it all. If it feels amazing, then that's a hell yes. If it feels uncomfortable, even if it's a slight nudge, it's definitely a hell no.
Yeah, I love that. For me, you stole my trust one, but I'll come up with another one. The permission slip I would give is to look at the side of the energetic coin that you're coming from. When you decide to enter into a relationship, whether it's with a coach or actually anyone, are you doing it because you don't feel enough and you think they're going to fill something up in you? Or are you doing it because you know you're whole and this is just something really awesome to add to you, right? So it's totally different, but it's a discernment you got to learn.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then you just stole mine. So that's awesome. I love it.
We're like on the same wavelength.
Yeah, totally. I love how connected we are. So I'm going to say permission granted to walk away and just leave with love. When you outgrow a situation or a person, it doesn't matter if it's a coach or any other relationship in your life. When it is done, it is done. And you need to have faith and trust in yourself that you know what is best for you. So permission granted to walk away with love.
Awesome. So guys, this is it. This was our episode. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If it's something that resonated with you or someone else in your circles, share this out. Make sure to subscribe so that you can be intact with all of our episodes prior and the ones that are coming up. Feel free to hit any of the links below to download your manifesto that we have specially made for the Permission Granted podcast. But until the next episode, remember to take care of you, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.